Knits. I am Tracy, owner of Low Country Shrimp and Knits in the Low Country of Bluffton, South Carolina, and with me is the fabulous, the delightful Judy Kirby, and she is the extraordinarily amazing artist behind Maggie Loves Yarn, which is our local hand-dyed, beautiful yarn that we have. And in fact, I'm going to start the show off with this because it goes right out. I swear to God, as soon as the doors open, it's gone. But this is Frost. I don't know, you can't really see it. It's got a Stellina little sparkle in it too. It's so cute and so pretty. I have two in the shop today, so if you want to swing by and grab one or call me, I'll put it aside for you.
Thank goodness it's hot out again. I know it's been awful. We've had heat indexes of like 110.
Well, the whole world really.
I can put that baby out back and it's dry in a couple hours.
You're like,
so
come on in, come on back in. You only have to kick away a couple of rattlesnakes to get to it.
Well, not rattlesnakes. Sometimes I have to watch for copperheads.
Copperheads, my bad. Wrong venomous snake.
Yeah, we have copperheads.
Yeah, they lives in your couch outside. Is that the one?
No, it was just a corn snake.
Corn snakes are fine. But...
No. Copperhead, the other night, Gordon opened the door, walked Maggie, and there was one on our sidewalk.
Okay, I'm going to start, and usually I start with where we've been the last couple of weeks, but this is one of my favorite Judy stories. I know you have said some snakes out in front, and I know one time you had a challenge where you were taking Maggie, your dog, which is Maggie Loves Yarn, so the dog goes for a walk, and there was was it a decoration outside that, I'm putting you on the spot here, but you thought it was
50 years ago.
You thought it was a snake? Oh, this is one of my favorite.
Gordon, it was Christmas time, and Gordon said, "Hey, I'm not sure, but I think I saw it was nighttime." He goes, "I think it was I saw a snake. So be careful when you go out." So he says, there's he just takes a little stick and beats. So he goes, "Just take the stick." So it was like a couple mornings later, and I have this big wooden Santa that's so cool, and it's cut out, and you plug it in, and it lights up because it's holding a candle. So I went out. I was half asleep. It was in the morning, and I looked over, and I saw this thing peeking out from underneath because we have a little ledge on the side. Yeah. So that's how come I took the stick and beat to death the plug to my.
I wish I was your neighbor. I wish I was your neighbor. I would invest in the Ring doorbell for everywhere in the house so I could just watch.
See what Judy's doing today.
Well, we have our neighbor is we're getting a tree taken out, and so some of the gardening systems the sprinkler systems have kind of gotten moved around, and there's been a couple of times where out of the side of my eye I think I've seen a snake, and it's just a piece of. But I'm like, because my dumbass dog would chase after it. He thinks he's going to kill anything that moves, leaves, whatever it is.
Oh, I know. The sprinklers?
Yeah, oh yeah.
My son's favorite story about my oldest son, he was a communications major at Wright State in Dayton, Ohio, and so he ran the Saturday morning, must have been the soccer games in the stadium or whatever, and so he said he's setting up, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, and whoever worked the night before did not turn off the sprinkler system. Oh. But it's timed to go like this. Yeah. So he was running to get this one, and he would hear somebody scream over here, so he'd run to get that one. And he said he had to do it all the way around the soccer stadium. He says, the game hadn't even started yet, and I was exhausted. He says, you just followed the screens, wherever people were, and that one was on now.
He got all his steps in, though, for the day.
I could just picture this poor kid running his head off.
So this is the great time because we're all dying of heat and humidity. I think I've sort of managed to tame this. There's a lot of hairspray, so don't light a match around me for the next mile around me. It's because otherwise...
See, your goes like that and mine just goes...
No, mine goes big, like bushel of hair. So... kind of interesting few weeks here since we last spoke. I have some very good news to report.
She's just become media star darling here.
Oh, I was actually going to talk about you and how your doctor boyfriend broke up with you because he no longer has to see your foot anymore.
I know he does, and he broke up with me.
I'm sorry that...
I know, he said he didn't want to see me anymore. I was like, okay, fine. Can we still be friends? No, get out of my office.
So no more boot.
No more boot. No more ankle brace. He
back to
he
yoga.
Says, it looks good. I said, well, that's good because I stopped wearing that ankle thing about 2 weeks ago. I was sick of it. He's like, okay. I said, now I wear it to walk the dog and I wear it when I exercise. He goes, yeah, but if you feel good, don't even do that. And I'm like,
all right, don't have to say that twice.
I know.
So we're excited for you. You're back to, well, whatever normal is because it's Judy.
Kicking ass.
It's Judy. Kicking ass, taking names, being a delight. as you do. So yeah, it's been a kind of interesting few weeks for me too. I was on, so we have this little TV station here, WHHI for Hilton Head Island, and they had me on Talk of the Town. As you do.
You know,
As you
Talk
do.
of the Town.
As you do.
Who's with who.
That's right. So, yeah, so I had that on Tuesday, so that was interesting. A little...
Oh, it was a great interview.
Thanks.
It was so good.
You know,
she's photogenic.
Well, thank
I am
you.
not photogenic.
I don't
you
think
take
I
a
do.
picture of her and it's beautiful. You take a picture of me and it's like...
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, that was a good one. Let's do that. You know, I look like, have you ever seen that episode of Friends with Chandler when he's trying to take his engagement picture and they go relax and he's relaxed and they take the picture and he goes,
Yeah.
that's me. So, but no, you looked great.
Thank you.
It was great.
Well, you know, I walked out of there and we had talked a bunch before we went live. Well, you know, we recorded it, and I didn't know when, you know, it had started, but then it didn't. So I didn't know if I said, it was like I left there all like discombobulated. And at one point I should have had something to drink, some water before. And I'm like, maybe you should have some water. I was like, I'm talking so much.
Well, she was a great interviewer.
She was great.
Because she, like you said, she talked to you first.
Yeah.
And then she stuck to it.
Yeah.
She remembered things to say
Yeah.
about. She took good notes and everything.
She did.
else. Because sometimes they fixate on something else.
Yeah.
You know.
No.
So what's this about the color blue? What, you know, that has nothing to do with my shop.
Right.
So, yeah, she was really good, and you two really worked well off it. You got to
Thanks.
watch it. It's good. Is it on Instagram?
It's on YouTube.
Oh,
and,
YouTube.
You know, I put it on
I
my
gotta fix
YouTube.
that
It's
post then when I put it
on
out.
my, yeah, I'll have to figure out how to put it there too. It is on my my YouTube account if you go into community down below. So it is there, so you can check it out if you're curious.
It's only 3 or 4 minutes long.
Yeah,
It's good.
yeah, it's just
Before
quick.
she can embarrass herself.
It's just
you know?
quick. I mean, yeah, before I get thrown out for being indecent or obscene
She
or
didn't say
irreverent.
anything.
Yeah, I didn't swear. I mean, nothing. So it was like rather tame for me. But so yeah, that was a kind of cool thing. And this was a nice surprise that I got voted. I know this is going to be backwards, but a neighborhood fave in Next Door. So if you are one of my Next Door fans, thank you. It is much appreciated. And Meadow Star Designs just joined us. Hello.
Hi.
So good to see you. Thanks for joining our show today. Yeah, so this has been kind of a neat media week for me because, you know, as a little tiny shop, I mean, God, you could really do social media around the clock, and I can't.
You have a family. You have a life.
Well, my kids are at this really fun, active age where they're teenagers and their social calendars are really full, and so my husband and I do try to, you know, get them everywhere to keep them from killing each other, really, because, and I kid you not, we had a total knockdown brawl about toast. Yeah, 2 pieces of bread that were in the toaster. I mean, to the point where my husband was like calling me. He's like, "You're so lucky you're not here because this is ridiculous. I just took away all their stuff." I'm like, "Oh my God, what did they fight about?"
I know,
He's
when
like,
my
"Toast,
husband would call.
toast." They're fighting about toast. I'm like, "Oh my God."
I didn't know when I came home and they all 3 were waiting for me in the kitchen.
Mom, whose side are you going to be on? And I was like, "Oh my God, this is a rather Pyrrhic victory."
Well, I've
because-
taken Lena off your hands this year.
I know, and that's what. Well, and you're a godsend for that.
Oh,
So.
she's so much fun.
So we are very blessed. But we do have a couple of cool things coming up, and in the next few weeks we'll talk about that. And you and I have been very busy working on, I think, what do I have? I think I have 4 works in progress whips right now. What do you have going on?
Well, I still have the knit along, and like I said, stern boobs or stern knockers are mean boobs. It's just kind of in a hiatus because it's worsted weight, and
It's heavy.
it's not.
It's a
even,
lot to-
even with the air conditioning on
Yeah.
in the house.
Yeah.
It's like
Stifling.
I can't do it.
Yeah, it's a
So
lot.
it's not. It's just on vacation. It'll
Okay.
be back, and then I started this.
So let's talk about
shawl.
that. Let's talk about that shawl that you started
Okay,
because
she
it
wants
is
me to
really.
name it.
I want you to talk about it, and because it's really cool, and the pattern is beautiful.
It's called Gavstrik. Gavstrik, and it's easier to see if you see the picture of it. It looks like this.
And you got this on Ravelry?
I did. And actually, I don't know where the picture popped up. It popped up somewhere, and I went,
Gavstrik.
"Oh, that's so cool." So I started reading on it, and a lot of people said it's good till the second half, and I'm like, "Oh, what's wrong with the second half?" And but then she's rewritten it because she had so many complaints. So the second half is here.
Okay.
I may have to sit down and rewrite it a little bit.
Okay.
But she does. But the way it's written out is really cool. So first of all, when she changes colors, she puts it in bold, so you know you got to work on another color.
Okay.
Like I said, a good thing to do is go through the projects on Ravelry and read them, because I was still like not understanding, because she doesn't say what colors to use or anything, and there's a lot of different color combinations. So one Saturday when I was working for you, I pulled out the colors I wanted, and somebody on their page, she had included a drawing where she just drew it out and kind of put the squiggles where she wanted.
So you didn't have to color, because we all know Judy loves
I know, but that's
to
all
color.
the coloring I had to do. So that's all you had to do. So I kind of figured out where I am, and I've still changed it up some, but it has worked. So this is how far I am now, and I want to talk about why you do use different colored markers.
All right, so here, this is when you start off at the bottom.
Alternating parallelograms. So it goes right side, wrong side, right side, wrong side, right side, wrong side. And then after you do a section, then you they say provisional, I mean long tail, but I do the backward loop cast on. You cast on 15 more and you start it again. And it's done in sections of 13, 15. So if you're purling, it's always 15 stitches. If you're knitting, it's always 13 stitches. And then you do either you make one or knit two together. And you just have to pay attention, because
and that's how the chevron is.
Yep, and because each block changes though. Because if I'm finishing this section with a knitted section, the next section is going to start with a purled section.
Right.
So you have to remember. So, and because you're changing colors, and it's different. It's not mirror image. And now I did once start on the wrong side and realize, why aren't my counts adding up? And it's so what I've done is, once again, remember I told you when you get the stitch markers, always use a dark and a light for stop and go. You need 3 stitch markers at the beginning, because it's a garter ridge, so it's 3 stitches a knit. So when I know I'm starting the wrong side, I put a red one.
Okay.
When I know I'm starting a green side, a right side, I put a green one.
Okay.
That's helped me a lot, because a lot of times you cut both yarns and start with 2 different colors. You want to make sure you pick up 2. So instead of saying this is on the right, this is the wrong side, and the green is on the right side of these cord things, you gotta love them, I put the green where I know I have to start that side. Okay. Even though I'm starting on the wrong side.
So that's
you
where
just have to.
Yeah.
You just have to.
Well, because you got all these dangles too, so you're all of a sudden like, oh my God, I got all these dangles. I have one too in mine.
I weaved them in last night. And you can't do weave and Steven.
I know, because
and go across, because it's supposed to be reversible.
Right.
And it's like, oh, I tried once and I went,
yeah, unfortunately, I love me some weave and Steven. If you haven't tried that to weave in your ends, it works for most things. And all you do is lay it over the yarn that you are are using. And it definitely saves a lot of time.
But it's a well-written pattern up until they say you start to decrease. But I think I've got it figured out, because I'm pretty comfortable with it now, and I can actually do it while the TV's on.
Well, and you got some fun. So I see, let me see if I can figure out all your yarns. So you've got, looks like Fiber Company, the Fiber Company. So here, this is Acadia. Correct me if I'm wrong, this is Acadia, which is the Fiber Company here. We have some of this, which is, I can see it right now.
Just a moment.
There we go.
No, there you go, here. No, that's not it.
So this is, is this?
I know, I played.
Ani. So here's this one, Ani, which is these colors here, which are the, there's this tan color here, and then this is the red. So we've got that, Ani, and then we've got, this is Road to China. I can tell just by feeling this. This is Road to China Light. Here also the Fiber Company.
I think that one too.
And this one's got to be Luma. This is Luma by the Fiber Company. So this one is a very hefty. And then one more. This is so soft.
And they're colors that I don't normally gravitate to.
No. So this Aini is from Amano, which
That's what this is too.
Yep. So these two, you can feel they're so soft. So one of the interesting things you were saying about this is that in the bottom is where she started it.
And you had to start with an I-cord.
Interesting. That's a big fat I-cord too.
I know. I don't really like it because the wrong side is kind of sloppy, but I left it. Well,
that's
I went
fine.
up.
You're gonna tie
I
it.
went up a needle size too because I didn't really. They say size 4, and I think I'm on 5s because I didn't want it real dense. It's too thick for down here.
Yeah.
But this lighter weight works perfect.
Well, and you said, so this is what's interesting, is this is very, very soft, which means a lot of times there's not a lot of body to it. There's not a lot of like oomph to keep it sticking together. And so therefore your knits aren't as stiff. So you'll see that it kind of just is down.
Yeah,
But
in the
I like
center
it.
now, when I did it in here,
Yeah.
it helped a lot more.
Yeah, so here you've got other knits around it, which are going to give it some of the support. And it's also not in here. It's not going to stretch as much because it's worked with other yarns. So therefore you're not going to have a lot of the stretch that that you'll find if it's down by itself.
Well, and this is just from my stash, this blue and white one. But what was interesting is Tracy's had this gray in like forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always kind of looked at it and went, And you've had this green in forever, and green is not my color. But when you put these two together,
it's just gorgeous.
Right here. Oh my God.
Look at
those
pops.
two colors together. And I'm thinking, I'm dreaming of a sweater in that color combination.
But if you make it on the bottom like this, you could look like Charlie Brown. That would be so cute for you.
Yeah, that's not it.
Oh,
Okay.
not that.
But I was thinking not necessarily chevrons, but just a gray sweater and use this.
As a pop for color
As a
work? Oh my
pop.
God.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Just gorgeous.
We have a sweater that we're both dying over right now, so we're going to probably do that as a fall knit along. Field. It looks like little pieces of wheat.
On Ravelry yesterday.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And I immediately
sent it to us. I'm like, okay, that's us.
Read the news.
Yeah.
Read the latest drama on Facebook.
Yep.
And then I go to Ravelry and see what's new. And that's about 7 o'clock, and I start. Look at this one.
Oh yeah, we're like, oh my God, we must do this. This is what I wake up to. I'm like, oh, I'm in. So it's absolutely beautiful. It looks like pieces of wheat, and they say to use a fluffy yarn, right?
One with high loft.
High loft. So I can't wait. It's gonna be.
So we've been playing with colors now for 2 days in here, looking at them like, what about this? What about
this? Do I
that?
want to do the
and I came
same?
up
Do
with
I
a good
want-
idea this morning.
I know.
I think I've got mine.
Yep.
set.
So Judy's got hers. I still need
But
to
like,
play.
you know, like I only have this. I want to start the butterfly cowl. So I have 2 sweaters and a shawl that I'm actively working on, and one on vacation.
I started the Killer Queen cowl. So here is the Killer Queen cowl. And the colors that they use here, it's very popular right now. The colors that they use here are both Malabrigo. And this is one of them from Malabrigo here. And then they use this bright teal feather is the name of this color here. So the two of them together create this cowl, okay? And so I was like, oh, I can't wait to start this. So I cast it on, and in the beginning, it was just lovely. So these are the colors I chose to put together. Okay, so this is my main color, this is my contrast color, and this is Earth Yarns here, and this is Ba Yarns that I'm using here. So I'm like, okay, I can't wait to play. So I started it off, and the bottom is, very simple, very basic, okay? So you're just adding on, so it increases, mostly on one side is where you add, you do a knit front to back to front. And so you're adding 3 stitches on one side, but you're only doing knit front to back at the end on the other side. So it is creating more of a right-leaning piece. So I liked these they were tiny bubbles is what they're calling them here. And then it gets into big bubbles. And this isn't a bobble, B-O-B-B. This is a B-U-B-B-L-E, okay? So this is bubble. And the way that they have you do it is, and this is a new stitch for me, okay, is you go down, when you get to the contrast color, you go down 4 stitches, and then you stick your needle through the 5th one, and then it's like you're casting on, and then you take that stitch off and it kind of pulls it loose, and it was leaving these giant strings across the back. It wasn't like with color work where you kind of just twist it across at some point, and I don't have any color work that I'm working on. Well, I have a little bit here, but nothing that's so here I've got a little bit across like the back here. Yeah, so here where you're kind of tucking it in as you go for your color work, so it's not dangly. It was just 4 giant strands of string. And I'm like, if I put this around my neck with earrings on, or it's going to probably strangle me. And then I have to have that on my epitaph, was strangled by her own cowl. Like, that's embarrassing. Like, I have to go out much more cool than that.
The yarn did her in.
The yarn did her in, as I always said it would.
So I found this morning.
So yeah, because I went back and forth. So then we were here in my knitting circle, my little group of knitters that come in on Tuesdays, and I'm like, what do you guys think? And I'm like, I'm reading this. She read this. They all looked at different things. I'm like, no, you're doing it the way everyone says to do it. And I'm like, what? There's got to be a different way. And most people won't show you the back of the knitting to see, yeah, you're doing it right, or no, somehow you're slipping the stitches the wrong way, or what have you. So then they said, well, don't do that. Just Janet goes, well, don't do that. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do it that way.
She's worse than I am.
So she said she goes, well, just when you get to this part here, just purl that and carry it along. So I did that here with, and I don't love it. It looks just like squares. It's not fun.
It doesn't look
so
good.
this for the 15th time, it's getting frogged because I'm now at a place where I'm like, no, I hate that. And I rip it all out. So that's getting ripped out. But Judy found something on her way in this morning. God love her.
Yeah.
And what? So
it was a YouTube video, and I thought, well, I'm just going to look it up.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to find the one she said, and we couldn't find it.
Right.
So I just typed in the bubbles, and she does it a different way. Instead of putting it on the lip, she does the same thing, takes it down 4.
Yep.
And then she picks up that loop.
Yep.
But she doesn't put it on the left needle. She puts it on the right and then goes underneath those and does it.
All right.
And that traps it like you would with color work.
All right.
And it doesn't have that because the next stitch then holds it in too.
Okay.
So it looked a lot better.
That I'm going to try today. So I'm going to be pulling. Okay. So Meadow Star Designs, she said she finished 2 more ranunculus because the ranunculus is my albatross.
That's a 4-letter word.
Oh my God! I don't know what
I am. I'm
gonna have to do the darn thing so I can prove I can do it. I can't get the neck, so it's like this every time I put it. I'm like, and I can't do it. So
I know it's so funny because the days
I
work for her.
I just made ranunculus this morning before I ate
Somebody
breakfast.
comes in and she's never here, and they always go to me. Well, I've made 4 ranunculuses.
I got another ranunculus.
Can I write that down?
Yes, I'm sorry. I've made some ranunculus, but I had to use the ladies' room and the line was long, so I just whipped out a ranunculus while I was waiting for the stall.
You know.
It's like, oh my God! So anyway.
And it's not my style, so I will never do it.
So
but
pretty.
for some reason, every day on Ravelry, when it has latest patterns, ranunculus is always on there. And of course, I have to send her a screenshot. Like what they think I should do.
Most popular ever. Everyone can make it but you.
I'm never making it.
I'm going to make it, darn it, because I'm sick of not knowing how to do it. So
that'll be the yarn that does you in.
That will be. That's going to be on my epitaph. It did her in the damn ranunculus. So
I was at a quilt show one time and I was reading this thing about a quilt and it said she finished the quilt the day she died, and I could just see it now. Grim Reaper.
I can't. I've
got the binding to do. I have this much
2 more rows. 2 more rows.
Stay right there.
You say I can't. Just let me do this. So anyway, but I'm on this and I haven't because I've had. Last weekend, I spent more time frogging. In fact, I spent the entire day not knitting, but then having to pull. I had this one where I had some lace overs, and I'm like, oh, I don't really like how that looks. So then I tried to tinker down to it and fix it, and then it just made a bigger disaster. And then I tried to pick it back up, and then I was on the wrong. So I frogged it all. So now I'm down to, I don't even know if I have. Oh yeah. So I was almost done with the sleeve, and here I am. So here I am now, almost done. Not so much. So
it's gorgeous though. It's gonna be so pretty.
This sweater it's coming along. So here is the finished sleeve. That was one of them that I finished, and then I was almost to this point, and then it's going to be, now we're going to be attaching it as soon as I can get my life together to here, and then we're going to start working on the yoke. So that's going to be interesting. But this project, I have to say, I really like. This is a Stephen West design. This is my TV watching because it is just very calming. It is like just you follow the same pattern over and over and over again for 12 to 14 rows. And then, so this is just kind of, I did gradients of this gray and this purple that I had here in the shop that I just liked. And this are never colors that I would choose, but it's fun. And now, but now because I'm getting to the long part of it where I pulled a whole bunch of mini skeins because I liked the colors that work together. But now I'm to the point where I'm like, these are probably not going to do this much because now it's longer. So we figured out if I do the triangle section with 2 colors, this is just the beginning. I got this started yesterday. The contrast colors, that's where we're going to go. But it's fun. It does, it does some reverse cables. I mean, not cables, reverse, what am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Reverse.
You're doing some. It does some pearly and then some
Yeah, but it's the reverse. If you do the reverse like edging, it makes it all
okay.
pop.
I know what you're talking about.
So yeah, and then but some of it's just like seed stitch, and then it does just a little bit of.
So it keeps your interest.
It just keeps your interest, but it's enough to like you still have to pay attention, but it changes up enough. And he only used 4 colors for his. And here I'll take the name of it. It's called Pierre. The Pierre.
But we never do
shawl.
anything like that. We are like,
No.
let's do more.
Yeah, let's add way more than
We're like
we
that
need
Morgan
to.
and Morgan commercial.
Yes, we have more. More. We would like more. So here is his, which is just stunning. And you know what? I love his patterns, and he's so
This is calming for him.
flashy and bright,
And
and
sometimes it's hard for me to see through all the colors he uses, but that's gorgeous.
yeah, it's just beautiful. This is a great pattern, so I can really recommend this for people that are looking for something that's just a nice TV watching. It's not a whole lot of counting.
He's a great guy. I've talked with him before because I've taught some of his patterns at festivals.
Oh, yeah?
And stuff. And he's great because I said, well, how do you want to do this? Because some people may come in with their patterns, but other people may not.
Right.
And I said, the way I do it where I live is I run off some and I sell them. I destroy the ones that they don't buy, and then I come into Ravelry and buy them from you, that exact amount.
Right.
So that you get it back.
Right.
And he goes,
Right.
I trust you. That works, and you can use his email as carte blanche to always teach it that way. So it worked out great.
Terrific. Wow. I mean, he seemed like, so the cast on was strange. It was strange for me. And so what you do is you just cast on a little bit, and then you knit, you just stockinette stitch for, like this big. And then you have to pick up stitches around the entire square. So some of it you've got, your needle is going into the other side. It was very convoluted for me to wrap my brain around. But he had a whole thing on YouTube where he just talked you through the whole thing, and it was terrific. And he does it slow enough that you can also pause it and then catch yourself back up and then continue on. So yeah, I really like what he's done. I just am not.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, he was wonderful talking to me, and he goes, "Yeah, I can understand why you would do it that way because I couldn't sell it to them right off Ravelry because then they wouldn't have a copy."
Right.
And this was at the Pittsburgh knit and crochet show, which was always really great. And I'm so sorry they closed it up finally. But I did it that way. He said, that's fine, because I was trying to figure out how to do it. And it was true. Some came in with their patterns already.
And some didn't. Yeah, well, and that's always, here at the shop, especially if it's people that are brand new and have no idea what they need to get into. So that's a really smart way of making sure everybody's prepared without, because you want to pay the designers. I mean, that's what
definitely.
you want.
That's their bread and butter.
That's what they do. So, and we try very hard to make sure that people get their, their
that was,
money for it.
Many years ago when I did that, and he may not like you doing it that way now, and some designers don't, but that's about the only way you can do it, unless you tell them ahead of time,
Right.
You need to have this pattern. And of course, if 4 or 5 people or friends were taking the class together, they're only buying one and passing it on.
Right.
At least this way he got more.
Right, absolutely.
Than
Absolutely.
if he had done it the
Yeah,
other way.
no, it's challenging because people, you just, especially I put everything under the sun and make sure you do this, blah, blah, blah. People don't read it. They're like, wow.
When I taught that class, I stayed with my friend from college who lives in Pittsburgh. And I brought her she was a quilter, but I brought her a really pretty little shawl. And so she goes, I'm going to go with you while you teach that class. I said, fine. So I'm teaching the class. She goes, I'm going to go out and shop a little bit. I said, yeah, go ahead. I'm good. I'm teaching. All of a sudden she comes in and she goes, people keep stopping me. What yarn is this? And I'm like, and I named it. So she'd go off. And then about a half hour later, she came back in. She goes, people are asking me what pattern this is.
Here, take this card with you.
She goes, I'm just going to sit in here. I'm like, okay.
Thanks.
Well, you ask someone like that right at the spur of the moment.
Right.
Like,
yeah, that's the story of my life. So, so we got talking about, it's very hot and humid everywhere, really, at this point. Even up north where I'm from, they had a rough start to the summer where it was just rainy. And I think finally they're getting probably some yucky heat now.
It's still getting flooded up there.
It's just,
Vermont's awful.
It's crazy. So we were talking about things to be able to do because you don't want heavy things sitting on you. Even if you are in air conditioning, it's just too much. So one thing that is a good way to learn and practice but not have the weight of something on it, we always recommend socks. Okay, socks are a terrific way because they're tiny, it's little fingering weight, and they're little, they're not sitting on top of you like a blanket might or a sweater. Okay, the other thing is pick up some new stitches. And so this is, if you haven't seen this book, it's the Japanese Knitting Stitch Bible, okay?
Yeah, it's been out a while.
It
When
has.
did it come out?
Let's see
Probably in
where
the
it came
inside.
out. Yeah, it's probably
I have it on my Kindle.
It is.
Because I couldn't afford it when it first came out.
Let's see, usually it's in the front.
Oh, it's in Japanese.
Well, it does. It says November of
2006.
August of 15. So they had some different series.
Yeah, I got it when it first came out, and that's 2006.
Yeah, well, actually, here in 97 was the very first one
that
under
was
My Natural Knits.
I don't think that's true because I hadn't met Norma yet.
Okay.
So it was probably the 2015.
Yeah, they have different editions of the couture knits and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, this is the Japanese stitch pattern. And all it is it's a great way if you want to just practice squares. And if you want at the end, they culminate to a blanket or a scarf or something. So you just work on this pattern. It's a repetitious pattern. And it's a great way.
Oh, they're exquisite.
They are absolutely gorgeous. And so they have here the little patterns next to it. So this is a great way just to get practice on a certain stitch. And if you have to frog it, it's not the end of the world because you haven't invested, hours and hours into this pattern and now you're up at the top and it's all screwed up. So
that's one up there. What's that called? It's in Japanese.
28.
28.
So that one's called
sometimes
28.
you might want to put something on like that instead of a plain old band.
Yeah. It's and there's a lot of just fun stitches, and so this is a great way just to practice something new without a giant commitment to it.
Yeah, if you want to make your sweater a little bit longer, put one of those along
On the bottom. Yeah, that would be beautiful. And there's a section in here to do yokes. By itself, it looks a little crazy daisy, but
I don't know how to design a yoke sweater and make sure I get the increases so that as you knit it, it lays flat.
Yeah.
And I think it's too much math for me.
It's definitely a lot of math. I need somebody to tell me how to do it.
I think bottom up, I could do a sweater and incorporate those, but when you get to the yoke part,
yeah,
and make it so it doesn't up like a ranunculus or lays flat like my Linnea.
See how she is? Doesn't get flat like a ranunculus that you can't make.
I don't even try. I don't even try, sister. At least you try.
But you know what? Here's what's cool is I look at these patterns and I have a quilt or a blanket. It's like a throw blanket that my meme made many, many, many years ago. And my aunt gave it to me after my meme passed away. And the stitches are very much like there was one in the front that I opened it up to. I'm like, oh, that's like my meme's. So
really?
Yeah, it's like
is it quilted?
It's knit.
Oh, it's a knit.
It's a knit, but she made this throw, and it's got all the lace overs, and it's just beautiful, and it's lasted forever. So, so these are just great, and it's a fun way to try a new pattern. So I'm thinking we've done it with cables for Nora's vintage Afghan.
Yeah, I think so. I would do it.
So this we could even choose like some fingering yarn. Yeah. So and then just make some little squares.
I cheated this week with a knitted throw.
You cheated?
I did because we're getting ready to move, and so I said we need new bedroom furniture. So I mean sheets and covers and stuff. So I was at Target, and they had their bed covers on sale, and we knew we wanted one. It was a really pretty one with a ticking, and it was reversible. I showed it to you.
Yeah. It's pretty.
So I bought that, and I knew I wanted something to go over the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because great time to go through tomorrow at Target. All their bed stuff is 20% off. Plus, this is the time when everybody's getting stuff for college to go, so everything's on sale.
Oh, yeah.
And they had beautiful, the big, like the kids like knitted throws, 20% off.
Wow.
$16.
You're kidding?
No.
All
and
right.
I'm looking at it.
You can't
and
get
I'm
the yarn
like,
for that.
I couldn't even get the yarn for that, let
Yeah.
alone the time to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So I cheated. I bought it. And it's
how you are.
really nice.
It's very pretty and soft, and of course my kids wanted me to go right away and get them one, and I'm like, no, you don't.
I
need
said
them
that
right
in
now.
front of them, didn't I?
Yes,
Sorry.
you did. It's okay. They know the word. They are very familiar with the word no. They'll tell you
grandma.
that. Yeah.
That's a grandma thing. Mommy will take you.
Right?
I'm sure.
That's a Judy thing. Tracy can do that. Tracy can order that. So I have to admit defeat, which I don't like to do, but I was bested last night by a cable, and I spent.
You were so good, and I thought, man, she's figuring that out, and I couldn't.
I figured it out, but I didn't have enough time to then. So one of our friends is working on this gorgeous scarf, and it's all cables on this one side, and then it's stockinette on this other side. And I think it's just kind of like, I don't know if it wraps
it's like garter stitch here, and then the cable, and so it's kind of like blocked. I mean, even though it's a cable,
right?
You see squares, which is really cool.
It's a really funky pattern that she's got going here, and I love it. And she chose actually this yarn here, which is by Fiber Spates, okay, and it is just this delicious green yarn, which we've used here for the dumpling bag. This is a 102 class here, knitting 102. If you're looking for something that's easy but giving you a little bit of a challenge and stepping up your knitting, this is a good project. But anyway, so she brought it in, and then we get talking. I don't know if you've ever sat through like a knitting circle or crocheting circle as well, but we get together and we have just this group of people that are so funny, and they're just we talk about everything under the sun. And I've learned early on that every time I work on anything while these fools are here, I have to frog it because it's always wrong. It's always screwed up.
It was just simply me and Kathy and her daughter.
And the fools are my children, and they just. But anyway, so she got off count, and with cables, because you're taking the stitches off and then putting them back on in a different place, it's really complicated if you're trying to frog it.
Well, you know what she did? She took it off. And she was talking to us and kept going.
And dangled. And I'm like, oh my God. Then when she put it on, it was twisted so that the wrong side was in the front. And I'm like, what is going on here? And so I was able to fix it, but then we got to the end of the night. And I was like, all right. Well, and I thought she's got friends coming into town. So I'm like,
yeah, in-laws.
I was like, okay, I'll give this back. And then I texted as soon as we left. I'm like, okay, my brain is, I love to fix those things. It makes my brain so happy.
She's so good at it. Cabling, I don't know how you do it. I would do what Julia Clay did to that poor woman.
Yeah, I don't cut cables. I will go back and kind of fiddle my way around them. And I know what needs to be done, but I just didn't have the time. So I was like, I'm so sorry. It defeated me today. I want to work on it. So she's going to bring it back so that my brain is not disappointed.
Did she text you back?
Yeah, she said she's going to bring it in today so I can fix it, because I was like, I never leave something unfixed. I always fix it.
But she's really good at seeing the mistakes. If I've got the pattern in front of me, I can see it and read it. But you take it and you go, oh yeah, and you just do it.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then my brain loves it. That's
when somebody says to me, well, see, that's an analytical side, though. That's almost like a math side. What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I think it's my OCD side. Everything has to be organized. Like my brain can pick out things that are off. Like I can pick out a spelling error for miles. You did not the other day when I sent you thing, though. I didn't? Or did I ignore it?
That said, moist people aren't offended by typos.
Yes, I did. I did see it. That's one of those words. It doesn't upset me, but it does upset some people. So anyway, so she's bringing that back. And then, so we've had craziness. My daughters have been coming into the shop, which I love. I love spending time with them. But boy, is it a lot of, they never stop talking. So much talking. And so my daughter's become obsessed with, they're called leggy frogs. So she loves amigurumi, which is that word that everyone's like, I don't know what this is. Amigurumi is Japanese, since we have the Japanese stitch for the knitting. This is crochet. Today. It's our theme, okay? These are called leggy frogs, and clearly we can see why, because their legs.
So cute. She makes them up in like 5 minutes.
Oh, she's so fast with them. So she's been making these for all of her friends and our friend Arlene's grandkids, and so these are the frogs. And she even taught her sister last night how to make it, because Emmeline she can chain and she will make you the best intestine you've ever seen. But then after that,
I have several.
You do. And our friend Arlene, she's got a small intestine as well. So this is what we've got here. She's been making these. And next week too, we've got an amigurumi camp. This is beginner crochet, and we're making this cute little chicken. So we've got that going on. And we have one more knitting. And so this one's a more challenging in that when you start the first day, you've just got like about this much of just the knit stitch with the littles. And hopefully by the end, you end up with a little bunny. So those are our camps that we've got going on. But we do have a couple 102, one more camp, as this one sold out so quickly. This is the Huichol yarn art, where we give them a picture just on a canvas, and then they fill in the picture with yarn. So we've got those coming up to keep the littles busy. And even if you aren't here, this is a super easy thing to do. They have these canvases at Michael's for a couple bucks. And then you just draw a picture on it and then give them all your scrap yarn and a lot of glue and a tablecloth so that you can wash all that off. And we use a paintbrush to put the glue on. It makes it a little easier, and then kind of press it down with like a toothpick or something to kind of keep it in there. Even the glue on the paintbrush.
I would fail so badly at that. My fingers would be glued together in 5 seconds.
Yeah, no, I had to use toothpicks to make this one, and I kind of threw it together over a couple of days when I felt like working on it. But so these are fun with scrap yarn for your kids, and I've even had
the kids just love them.
Oh, it's such a cute. It really is a cute. They're in there laughing their heads off doing this. I may be glue high, but you know they have fun. So and we have a couple 102 classes coming up. Like I said, we are going to make this one here. This is a great bag for people that are beginners. They want to look at patterns. They want to start to just now do something more than like a scarf or a square. So there's this. And our crochet 102, this is we call this market bag. I use it for the beach because I have one because they're great and you could wash them and they take all the sand out of them. So we have that for a crochet 102 class coming up. We have a couple more fabulous classes with Judy. She's going to do a couple of the colorwork classes. We've got Trelawney, which is over there, and I don't feel like getting it, but it's really pretty. Trelawney is coming up, and we're going to have Judy's, I'm calling it the game day blanket throw, because it's all this slip stitch, isn't it? Yeah, and so all these fun colors. So we're going to have those.
Like 10 colors, 10 different skeins of worsted. Like, pick up these and a couple others, and then you do this slip stitch, and you're putting the two together, and you get the most beautiful different color combinations. They're all fun.
So that side is the lighter colors, in my opinion, and then this side is like, woo!
Darker. I went from darker to
lighter. And so she worked on this over every Saturday while she's watching college football. Your time is almost here, Judy.
I know.
So we'll have this class coming up in the fall as well.
They did a thing on Facebook where they put about 15 different big name college coaches and said what would they look like with long hair.
Oh my gosh.
And they were hysterical because I'm a big Ohio State fan.
Yeah, of course.
And they did Ryan Day and I said to my friend Pat, because she's a big Ohio State fan too, he needs to be shirtless on the cover of a Harlequin romance novel, because all of them looked really bad except him. He looked really good because he's got dark hair and he has this mustache and it comes down like this. He went, oh yeah, he needs to be shirtless on a Harlequin
like
romance.
Fabio used to be on all those things.
But some of them, the Tennessee coach looks like Chumley from
the Pawn Stars. Not the best look. Sorry.
Double Sweeney didn't look too good either. He kind of looked like a horse.
Yeah, I don't know who any of these people are, but I can imagine not everyone looks good in long hair. No, but
it was cute. So it's starting to ramp up.
Well, I love all these fun things. Right now we're near the Savannah Bananas, which is a really cool. Are they double A? What are they? Triple?
They're college.
They're college.
They're kind of like kids right out of college that want to get into maybe the major leagues, so they do this instead. I don't know. They're just clowns. They're so.
But
good.
it's like what I think of like the Harlem Globetrotters,
yeah,
where they play and.
If you don't know anything about Savannah Bananas, and I don't know how nobody doesn't know about them by now.
Well, if they're here, then you know about them. But if you're watching this from other places,
much all over the country. Really, truly,
they are.
My friends in Ohio talk about them.
Okay, well, they are terrific, and they have no problem making fun of themselves, which I always appreciate. They had this thing on, I want to say it was last week, where they were doing like the Little Mermaid, and they had a tarp up, and the one player puts this wig on, and he's singing, and they're throwing water at him, and the wig falls off.
And if you really want to know what they're about, there's several good YouTubes where the Sunday morning show is interviewed, where the owner of them talks about why he got into doing this with them and why he chose Savannah. And then watch the one where they played an entire game in kilts. It's hysterical.
They're so funny. Well, they dragged Judy out was it last summer that they dragged you out and made her dance and a dance off in this competition.
Tied first place,
yes,
baby.
you did, girl. Yes, you did. That's my girl there.
Pictures, Mel.
That's right. So she knew how to rock it. She did.
It was a little bit.
It was So funny.
A little shake.
I get this video, and sometimes when it shows up on my phone at first, it's like so minuscule that I can't see it. And I was working, and I'm like, I'll just look at it later. And then
Sunday morning,
I
get this.
Open it up, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that's you, isn't it? She goes, yes, it is.
Well, my sister-in-law said, I can't believe you did that. I said, you know how much I'm like my grandmother.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a little voice in my head the whole time going, don't you ever back down from O'Dare, girl. You go out there and shake it. Because my grandmother would have been right there.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is for you,
This is we're doing this. We don't say no. We don't say no. We're not
Her
scared.
spitting image and attitude and everything.
I love it. So we've had some people come in, and we've got this really funky yarn, and there's a lot of different brands that kind of do this. The one that we've been playing with here, and I know I've talked about this one before, is Bamboo Bloom. And so we've had some people that buy it, and it gets tricky because some of it is very, very small. Okay, so see, when you're knitting, you get this thin yarn, and then a little bit later it becomes very thick, and it even becomes more thick with these different areas. So the texture that is in this yarn is really neat, but you have to be careful when you're knitting it, because if you just do a straight knit, it just is odd looking. It's like you know
what I keep thinking
fishnets
about?
that have holes in the wrong places.
Is that sweater that Janet did for her daughter. And
Yes.
even though she used the really thick one, this one would be cool.
She used this one here. So this one is from Knit Collage. Oops, I just opened it all up. And it's cool. It's got some gold sparkles in it. What is this called? It is Knit Collage Peachy Sparkle and Castaway Yarn.
But that's really thick.
So this is universally thick. This one's not. So
Yeah,
when
and
you're
her daughter lives in Massachusetts, so
Yeah.
that's perfect. But I'm thinking you could do that same kind of pattern
Here.
she did with this.
Yeah.
And it would be gorgeous.
Well, the
'Cause I've
problem
been
is
thinking about it with this one. This one
Janet
is so
doesn't
pretty.
have a pattern. She just goes,
No, she just doesn't.
I'm not making that way. I'm just going to do this. And I can't say.
found a pattern.
Did you? Oh, we'll have to share that one. So when you're working with the different textures, Judy whipped up, God bless her heart and soul, this as a little shop sample. I think she gets sick of looking at the same stuff, and I just can't do it all.
I know,
I try.
And it's like,
I try.
I think I'm down to anything but my underwear that I've brought in here. So no.
Yeah,
I
you
haven't
can wear this
knitted
home.
any underwear,
It's a top. You can wear this. So she put this together, and so what she did was here, so it's not giantly open in some places, and then you just purled it when I got to the chunky
When
spot.
I got to it, I didn't. I think that's where Ashley went wrong with hers.
Yeah.
Because if I'm knitting it and I get to a thick part, I just kept knitting it. It wasn't until the next round that I came upon the thick part that I would purl it.
Okay.
And I think she did both.
Yeah.
Because she had these big blobs. It was hysterical.
Yeah. Well, I think when she wrapped it around twice, it looks really cool.
It did.
But I think if you're just doing a straight knit, it's going to leave these kind of gappy loops. So that way
And
it didn't.
I think the cowl pattern was called the Afterthought cowl.
Okay.
And it's free.
Okay.
On Ravelry, Afterthought cowl. And then,
Just like the heel, your favorite heel.
yeah. Sure is.
She hates that heel.
And I just kind of, wasn't real clear about when you purled it. But
Yeah.
I just did it. I just figured it out. I'm going to do it this
Yeah.
way. And because I designed a cowl that was really cool, and I did it with the yarn, and I need to do it again because all my kits sold, and it looked like the blue with white in it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the roving part. It was just all, and you knitted it. I called it wave crest, I think. And when you got to the white, you would purl that.
Oh,
so
that's
it
cool.
came
So it
out
came out
like
like
this. It was really cool.
Very cool. This is very Barbie-like. I feel like we do need to make something for Barbie.
Hey, today Barbie.
I know. I feel like we need to make something for Barbie.
because I think it's going to be
I
packed.
cannot wait to see it.
But-
It sounds so fun.
Oh, Lena was so impressed yesterday because Gordon had something on, and she was eating lunch with me, her daughter, and we were watching it out in the Carolina room, and it was doing the trailer, and at the end, she's talking to an old lady, and I said, that's the original Barbie. And she goes, what? I said, that's the lady that her mother patterned Barbie after. She's now old, but they had her in as a cameo.
Oh,
at
that's
the
so
end.
cool.
I know. Lena was so impressed that I knew that.
Oh, yes. Fount of useless knowledge. Well, yes. So, in a similar vein, we've got this yarn. It is so squishy and fabulous. It's called Dash, okay? And it is by Barocco, and there's a lot of fun colors. And in fact, what's cool about it is they're all named after famous mountains. So
that's right. I forgot about
I ordered Wachusett, which is where in Massachusetts, where I grew up. But they have all different appellations. They have all different mountains that they have. So this is a really cool pattern here. And what you do is, and there's an actual pattern that goes along with it. It is called Flory. Flory is the pattern that they use, but it's
F-L-O-R-Y?
F-L-O-R-R-I-E.
Oh,
it's
see?
very...
F-L-O-R-R-I-E.
That's right, Flory. But this is cool because when you get to the color, then you purl. And so it gives a bit of this punch. But even if you don't do that, if you just did straight stockinette, what you would have is it looks like you've done all this intricate color work, but it's the yarn. The yarn does all the work for you.
I think there's also I know there's a cardigan pattern out
that
uses this.
Yeah. So, and this is cool. And they've just started.
Cute for a little kid.
Oh, it's adorable. And it's just nice and squishy, and there's nothing scratchy about it. So it would be a good thicker, and it's a fast knit because I think, what are these on 11s?
13s.
These are on 13s. Yep, size 13 needles. So it's a fast knit if you want to, throw it out for a blanket or a sweater. A full blanket would be rather pricey, but you could definitely get away with a kid's sweater with this, and it's so soft.
Kid's sweater would be
it is so soft. And they're starting out with their fall colors. We have this one, which is the gray. This is their fall color.
That intrigues me. I think like I said, I took one home because I'm playing with it for a vest I want to make, but I haven't gotten very far because I don't know. I guess I'm doing one or two other things.
What? Oh my God. All right.
My husband keeps saying, we're going to get a date for this new place we're moving into any day now. You want to pack up now? Good. Don't worry about my sewing and knitting room. I know it's organized chaos. Yeah, well, he learned that the last time I could do it. So.
Yeah, that's your stuff. You got it. You know what you're doing with it. So those are some fun things to start thinking about for your fall, either knit-alongs or when you're starting to put your projects together for holiday gifts. So those are good because they knit up quickly and they make you feel really good about yourself. You're like, oh my God, I just did this in like 2 hours. It's like people with ranunculus, people other than me.
You kind of do it with binge watching. I made this during the first season of Lincoln Lawyer. Done.
I'm so excited that the second season's
It's good.
I
We
know.
watched it all. We're done.
Wait.
We're trying to catch up. We're almost to the end of Joe Pickett. Joe Pickett got to a part last night that was really good. It was like, next episode on Sunday. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Well, we started watching this show. This is a lot what we talk about during our knit-ins here. So, what are you watching? What are you watching? And you can tell one of my favorite people ever, Claire, she's very Southern, and she did not like some of her recommendations because we New Englanders use curse words like salt and pepper. You just
New England,
sprinkle them everywhere.
Midwestern farm girls.
Yeah, we just sprinkle them everywhere. So I don't even notice them when people swear because it's just part of what we grew up with. But so she's like, I did not like, because we were talking about the Diplomat, and I loved it. I can't wait.
Good.
Oh my God, I can't wait for it to come out the second season. But she was like, I couldn't even get through the first episode. She's like, there was too many F words. I'm like,
well, see, that's worrying me about the strike because there's going to be a lot of them that won't come back because of
the writers and the actors now.
Well, like this one that in Savannah, they do movies in Savannah all the time.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood was down there
Recently.
Yeah. And as of the day the strike went on, and they're doing a period piece, which means they've got to bring in horse and buggies.
Oh yeah.
They've got to do, make the streets look cobblestone and bring in sand and dirt and all, and that's costly.
Of course it is.
And I don't know that they'll have the money to bring everybody back. They did Magic Mike in Savannah.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh,
my son Mike was living with us for a while at the time, and he said, I got to go to Pooler today. And I said, okay. He's in his 20s. I didn't pay any attention. He comes back really late that night, and I'm laying in bed reading. He goes, Mom, guess what I did today? And I went, what? He goes, well, I went down to Savannah to see a friend, and we were walking around the square, and they needed extras for the Magic Mike.
Oh, no way!
So I said, I did it. He goes, next week they need a bunch of women 50 above. Do you think you could get your friends? I said, oh, yeah, sure. Can you imagine some girl watching it and go, is that Grandma? That's Grandma in the background. Can you imagine? It would have been hysterical.
All of your students would be like, of course it is.
I know.
Of course
he
it
kept
is.
trying to talk me into going down. I went, no, I'm not going to do it, Mike. Remember, I'm not photogenic.
30 years of Kirby's.
I can just see some girl go, that's my grandmother.
Yeah, your former teacher. There's my English teacher right there.
Yeah.
Well, my husband and I did that. We did it for, oh my God, I'm blanking on the name. The Righteous Gemstones. We were extras in their finale, their season 2 finale, and it was hotter than Hades, but we had a good time. It was a fun thing to do. Yeah. So
well, the lady that I'm going to shout out another, the yarn shop in Savannah, Unwind, Wendy Moynihan, the owner, is she's SAFTA and all that for.
Well, she does designs of costumes, right?
Costumes. She does all the costuming for things, and so most of the time when you go in her shop, which is a very nice shop. She's not there, and I'll go, well, where's she at today? You know, well, she's working on this or she's working on that. So sometimes she'll talk to me because I'll say, okay, I watched it, and she goes, yeah, what did you think? But she's not allowed to talk about.
No, of course.
But she did say, and I've read so much about him, Keanu Reeves is the nicest person you'll ever meet. She said she was walking clear across several squares with her arms full of costumes, and he came and took them from her and carried them.
He seems lovely.
But other than that, she's not allowed to talk about it.
No, I mean, we had
the dirt. Give me the dirt.
Oh, I know. Just for that simple piece, it literally was like 5 minutes of one episode. It was the grand finale, but we had to sign our lives away with an NDA, so we couldn't have phones. So I absolutely see
I know.
that
I always like to know where she's at though and what she's working.
That's
cool.
cool.
She's done some in Alabama and she's and I go, are you in the credits at the end? She goes, yeah, credits.
Yeah.
So I know she's on strike too. So I was like, I'd
yeah,
like to talk to her about it. But she posted a thing that made sense, and it wasn't that she wrote it, but she put it on Facebook. And what the actors are upset about is they don't get any residuals from like Netflix or Hulu.
Right.
And these companies, Netflix, for example, just from membership dues every month, make billions.
Oh, yeah.
Billions. Netflix's is something like 1.2 billion a month.
Not even surprised.
Hulu's is like 900 million
Yeah, not
a
even
month.
surprised.
And they don't want to pay the actors. And it's like...
They wouldn't exist if you didn't have these actors.
And they want to be able to take your image and use it with artificial intelligence. And not pay you.
Well,
so
they should not be able to do that.
This might go on for a long time before that gets
Well, and then we're going to be
resolved.
back to all this crappy reality TV that I hate.
There's not going to be anything because they're all on strike.
Well, yeah, but eventually it will get back to that again because we've had writers on strike for so long, and I'm like,
we can make a movie because we're not.
We're not part of it.
Union. We're
That's
not
right. We are not unionized.
What could we call it?
Oh God, help us and save us.
That would be good.
That might be good.
Irreverent Knitting.
You're so bored. You're watching us.
We could do a reality show where we kick someone off. You're not a good customer. Out. We've all voted you out.
You do not belong in our knitting circle.
Give us your needles.
You're fired. You're going to need to.
Needles,
yeah, you're going to have to. You're going to have to go because.
What is it? Take off your apron or you douse the torch. Hand over your needles.
We just set their thing on fire.
No, I don't want to do that.
No, that's too much.
It could be acrylic.
Yeah.
You just melt everything.
Yeah, I guess you'll be like, okay, your knitter's pride.
Yep, hand it over.
Hand it over because you've lost your privileges. You've lost your knitting privileges.
Take the pattern and go.
You're out of here. And we can all vote them off, like the people that come in and they tell you how awesome all their knitting is and just sit there and show you over and over again.
And then we'll take a vote. Okay, get out the little ceremonial yarn bowl. Put your vote in.
Is there an...
Okay, we are so off the rails right now. I had a chocolate donut. Sorry, it's the sugar.
I'm still working on my Dunkin' Donuts. So I'm liking where this is going, though. We just vote them off. We vote them out of the knitting circle.
I did it with my juniors when we did because we did American literature. And of course, you start at the beginning and the Puritans are just boring as hell.
Yeah.
So after we got done, I gave them each one of the names, and we did Survivor. Who are you going to kick off the new world? And they had to prove why they should be able to stay.
Amazing. That's such
it was so much fun. Some of them came in with Jonathan Edward T-shirts on. Some of them gave us Anne Bradstreet cookies. It was hysterical. And then I had this bowl that I found, I don't know where. I think it was in our backyard when we moved there. And I had this. So I used it, and I found this tribal music, and I'd play it, and they'd have to vote off who they'd go up, and they'd put their little votes in. It was, it was just some way to end a boring section before we moved on to
I love it.
even more boring, the revolutions.
Yeah.
But they always thought
anything
it was
I want to read about.
Oh, we're gonna do something crazy today. I said, yeah, I know they're boring, so we'll get to that. So we did. Who are you kicking off the new world?
All right,
Jonathan Edwards almost always wins.
boring. So yeah, no. I'm liking where this is good. Yeah, you're all gonna come to us now because you're gonna be like, wow, okay.
I don't want to miss out on the fun.
Right, who are you voting off today? And we'll kick them out of the circle, and then
So for
We'll make them knit with scratchy yarn. I'll be like, here's some Lopi. You need to work with this.
So you SCAD students that are majoring in film down in Savannah and you don't know where to go with your life now,
you come here.
We're only like 20 minutes away.
You
come on down.
Come on down. We got you.
You can film us.
We got you. We'll get you credits. Yes, we can. And on that note...
did you want to show my progress?
Oh, yes. I forgot.
On the orange.
Look at this. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. Knit along here. Is this so gorgeous? This is Sea Stars, and this is by Rowan. So this is the pattern that is in their latest summer magazine here, and it is absolutely stunning.
I'm to the point where I got to decide. I've got about maybe 10 more rows, and then, which I think will take me to here.
You're going to start the yoke?
I think that's where I want to divide.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I have to decide whether that's going to be too short or not. But it's going to be stretched some too, so it's not.
It looks amazing. Looks
Stretch
amazing.
out the fish.
All right, and on that note, we have hopefully you've been entertained for the last hour, and we appreciate you staying with us and supporting our fun little bit.
The heat is starting to bring out the crazies. We're sorry.
The crazies have been here. We just try to keep it under wraps.
But the heat has done it in.
It's too much for all of us. But stay nice and cool. If you have any questions or comments or anything that you would like us to share or go over with you, God bless you. Let us know. And other than that, we'll see you in a few weeks back here in Old Town Bluffton at Low Country Shrimp and Knits. This has been Irreverent Knits. Thank you so much.
Bye.